soprattutto nell'ecosistema che viviamo, fondamentalmente basato sui social network.
We know how the crimes of hate speech and the acts of hate that are motivated by anti-Semitism have a particular nature, but actually they are very, very prevalent and important in the web space.
Io sono convinto che nonostante la specificità del fenomeno, le politiche di contrasto all'antisemitismo non vadano disgiunte dalle politiche di contrasto alle altre forme di odio e di intolleranza.
Even if we take into account the particular nature of anti-Semitic activities and anti-Semitic hate, which is very particular and very specific, we can say that our activities in combating anti-Semitism go together with our general activities against any form of discrimination or hate.
Questo è l'obiettivo della nostra Commissione. Io sono convinto che le politiche di contrasto all'antisemitismo siano un potenziale modello per contrastare tutti i fenomeni di intolleranza, razzismo e discriminazione.
We believe that our activities in combating anti-Semitism can also serve as a model for any initiative that would serve for combating discrimination and hatred on any subject or context.
Concludo questo intervento per i tempi a disposizione rimarcando due elementi che sono tornati anche nel dibattito di oggi e di ieri. Voglio rimarcare in conclusione due elementi che sono emersi dal dibattito di oggi e di ieri.
I want to accentuate two elements that came out from the debates today and yesterday.
Innanzitutto il pericolo dell'antisemitismo, dell'uso politico dell'antisemitismo nelle organizzazioni di estrema destra, di stampo fascista o nazifascista, nelle teorie razziste o suprematiste.
First of all, the political use that can be made by far-right extremist groups that are fascist or Nazi or neo-Nazi, which are using antisemitism for their goals.
E poi l'antisemitismo che trova la sua caratteristica nell'odio nei confronti di Israele, nella demonizzazione dello Stato di Israele, portato avanti in particolare da alcune correnti dell'estremismo islamista.
And secondly, the anti-Semitic thought behind the demonization of the State of Israel, above everything else, by Islamic political organizations.
Devo anche rimarcare quanto è un dato emerso in questo convegno, il riacutizzarsi dell'antisemitismo corrisponda al periodo della pandemia da Covid-19 che ha fatto riemergere con violenza antichi miti cospirazionisti che sono stati utilizzati strumentalmente, politicamente, penso al caso ad esempio di QAnon.
Okay, and I have to also accentuate here how the rise in anti-Semitism also was happening at the same time as the COVID pandemic that gave rise to conspiracy theories, above everything else on QAnon, that were relying upon all the myths and the wrong beliefs and prejudices of an anti-Semitic nature.
Dalle ricerche che emergono, dalla nostra indagine conoscitiva, emerge come nel periodo pandemico il 95% dei discorsi d'odio sulla rete, in particolare su Twitter, ci sono riferimenti negativi agli ebrei o Israele in riferimento a falsi, naturalmente, complotti di propagazione del virus.
So according to our surveys, for example in Twitter, over 95% of the expressions of hatred are directed to Jews and to Israel in the context of false conspiracy theories about the propagation of the virus.
Nel nostro paese tra il 2017 e il 2019 sono molto aumentati i fenomeni di antisemitismo, in particolare legati al web, e su questo dirò alcune cose in conclusione.
I I'm going to say a few words in summary to describe how in our country, in Italy, there was a rise of expressions of anti-Semitism online between the years of 2017 and 2019.
Fa particolare impressione in tutto il mondo e da ultimo le audizioni nel Senato americano sull'utilizzo degli algoritmi per propagare discorsi d'odio ai fini delle interazioni e dei profitti commerciali.
The entire world was paid special attention to the hearings held in the US Senate about the use of artificial intelligence algorithm in order to... Non ho capito la fine?
Discorsi, diciamo, la propagazione da parte dell'algoritmo dei discorsi d'odio per aumentare i profitti commerciali.
Exactly. In order to promote commercial interest, the artificial intelligence algorithm were promoting actually discussions and narratives of hatred.
La nostra Commissione, così come a livello europeo, si interroga sulla necessità di un intervento normativo di regolazione del web per contrastare i discorsi di istigazione all'odio, nella convinzione che la libertà di espressione trovi compimento nel rispetto della pari dignità e non ci possa essere alcun rapporto tra la libertà di espressione e discorsi d'odio che invece impediscono ad altri di parlare e di poter esprimere la propria appartenenza culturale, religiosa e le proprie idee.
So there is actually a contrast between the idea of freedom of speech and freedom of expression when it comes to an artificial intelligence algorithm that promotes hatred, which hatred would actually limit the freedom of expression of belonging of a certain religious context. And so the commission that the senator is the vice president of, together with the European Commission on legislation, they are examining legislative and normative ways of tackling this type of artificial intelligence algorithm.
Questo tema, quello delle regole, della trasparenza della rete, del contrasto alle discriminazioni che amplificano le diseguaglianze, è tema decisivo per il futuro delle nostre democrazie. Grazie ancora per questo meeting e per il lavoro che state facendo e che insieme potremo fare.
This theme of neutralizing algorithms that promote hate in social media is actually crucial to the democratic future of our society. And with this, I want to thank you very much for this occasion and for having the possibility to speak to you.
Thank you very much.
So if I can ask, first of all, we're going to have, because we wanted some Mediterranean countries. We heard from Greece, we heard from Italy, we have somebody from Spain. So just to complete the Mediterranean group, if that's okay. But in the meantime, I would like to ask my colleagues from the Action and Protection League to please join us in the panel. If there is, I know that MEP Müller-Rosentreed needs to leave. So if there's any questions, please send them in, obviously. And with that, I have the very great and pleasure. I am really honored to present all of the members of parliament and senators that we just heard from. But specifically, I'm not taking, there's no favorites here, but specifically the reason why I say that is a very great privilege for me to introduce you from the European Parliament, the chair of the Delegation for Relations with Israel, and also he's the EPP Secretary General himself, MEP Antonio Lopez Isturiz White. Welcome, please take the floor. Thank you.
Good morning. First of all, thank you for saying my name in a correct way. I know it's very difficult. Spanish, we have so many names. I am today, as you said, as President of the Delegation for Israel in the European Parliament, as Secretary General of the EPP, and Spanish. and as a European citizen, dear Rabbi Menachem Margolin, dear friends, it's good to see you again, personally, not through these things. I think that we all share this feeling. And of course, first of all, let me thank the European Jewish Association for inviting me to this meeting. Like-minded people, we are truly committed to promoting friendship and cooperation with Jewish communities throughout Europe. This conference and the topic are extremely timely. As you know, the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, whose EPP, has pledged as soon as he took office that we should propose a new legislation and policies to fight anti-Semitism. She confirmed her commitment by formally including the fight against anti-Semitism in the portfolio of a European Commissioner, specifically in the portfolio of our Vice President, Margaritis Schinas, that I'm sure you all know, whose mission is to promote our European way of life. Dear friends, this is exactly the point I want to make today. Anti-Semitism is simply not compatible with our European values. Respect, tolerance, understanding, but also the active fostering of Jewish life in Europe are part of the European way of life. As you know, we now have, for the first time ever, a comprehensive strategy to fight anti-Semitism in all its forms. Yet, the joy of having this European strategy is matched by the sad fact that we still need it. Anti-Semitism, sadly, not only remains present in our society, but has seen a resurgence in recent years. Jews around the world continue to be victims of hatred. In fact, when we see feelings of hatred and intolerance, it sometimes feels that we are going back in time. Friends, as you know, anti-Semitism takes many different forms and is not always easy to unmask. It can take subtler, yet still incredibly hurtful forms, including dehumanizing, demonizing, or invoking stereotypes about Jews. We, and especially as politicians, should not be afraid of calling out anti-Semitic actions. Grotesque carnival parades with characterizations of Jews are anti-Semitic. Conspiracy theories blaming the Jewish community for world problems are anti-Semitic. Using anti-Jewish narratives to criticize or attack the state of Israel and its citizens is anti-Semitic. Anti-Zionism is anti-Semitic. I will always call it like I see it, not only to expose these ideas whenever they surface, but also because not doing so can have serious consequences. Indeed, it is shameful that to this day there are Europeans who do not feel safe or secure in their own communities. We have abundant data that confirms that many of our Jewish friends do not feel secure because they are at risk of violence. The survey presented in this conference on anti-Semitic attitudes in Europe, made by Action and Protection League, offers further proof. We simply must reverse the situation. The strategy on combating anti-Semitism is a good starting point, but we have to build on it and make sure it is implemented by our member states. From Brussels, we have to keep up the pressure so that member states develop their own national strategies on combating anti-Semitism, provide sufficient funding to implement them, and appoint special coordinators on fostering Jewish life. We also need all countries to adopt and use the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance definition of anti-Semitism and encourage local authorities to do the same. I also firmly believe that one of the most important tools at our disposal is education. We can and we must promote visits of young people traveling around Europe to Jewish heritage sites in the context of Discover EU. Promote Holocaust remembrance in schools and show our support for Holocaust commemoration days and events, both at EU level and national level. We must never shy away from commemorating the Holocaust publicly in close cooperation with our Jewish communities. We have a collective moral duty to ensure that the historical, real, and heartbreaking truth of the Holocaust is known and remembered. A duty that the testimonies of those who suffer its horrors are still heard and act as witnesses of history and warnings for the future. Friends, the world is experiencing an identity crisis. The current climate of populist movements, economic crisis, changes in geopolitics, and of course the pandemic have created too much uncertainty. It is precisely this climate that can foster hatred towards a group by making it a scapegoat. It is, again, I say it, our duty to make sure this does not happen. Today's permissiveness can cost lives tomorrow. You can count on the EPP as an ally of Israel and of the Jewish life in Europe. But you should know the challenges we face in our daily work. Brussels is home to different political groups and politicians, many of whom come from their national constituencies outside of capitals. Many of them, they do not have the knowledge about Israel, Jewish people, and in fact, often have preconceived, ideological, negative assumptions about everything related to Israel. We need your help to change these attitudes and perspectives. All politicians must engage and cooperate with the Jewish communities. It is up to us to make sure our Jewish communities are thriving, to listen to their needs, and to do whatever we can to stand up to hate. You can count with me, with my political family, but this is a work that we all have to do. We need also your help. Again, thank you for the organization, and I'm sure many of you, I was looking now, I see familiar faces around. We are good friends, and we have a task ahead, which is heavy, but personally I think is rewarding. Seeing all of you today again, united here, and this gives us strength to keep our commitment to many of us in the European Parliament and in the European institutions to keep this path. Thank you very much.
I know that you have to leave. I understand your schedule is very tight, but we have two very special people. We have the president of the Jewish community of Madrid, Mrs. Estrella Bencio, if you'd like to join us. And also we have the vice president of the Jewish community of Barcelona here, Mrs. Elizabeth Buch. And I asked them if they have a question for you. They said no, only just the high remarks and thank you, and they just wanted to tell you in person. That's okay.
Okay, no, but if there is a question.
No, I'm just saying that there were no questions. Just
okay.
they were thanking you for your hard work. Yes, actually, please. Maybe you join for a picture?
Sure.
I never refuse questions from fans.
Well, muy bien. So, well, I want to take the opportunity to thank you for all you do, for all you will do. And particularly, I mean, I'm living in Madrid, and there are many things that are happening, many good things. And I want to say here, you can count on all of us, and particularly being Spanish, I think that there is something more closer. So thank you, and looking forward to work on all these amazing projects that we need. Thank you.
Gracias.
Elizabeth, you can also say it in Spanish.
Le hablaré en castellano desde Barcelona. Le agradezco mucho porque...
Yo hablo hasta catalán.
Bueno. Mi discurso de antes decía que nos sentíamos solos y escucharle fue como un bálsamo para el alma. Cuente con la Comunidad de Barcelona para todo y que juntos lograremos seguramente vivir en un mundo mejor. Muchas gracias por su trabajo.
Gracias. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much again for your participation. I know you have to go, but my colleagues here have a presentation from the Action and Protection League in Hungary, which since you will not be staying, we're going to send it to you, if that's okay. It's regarding...
How long is the presentation?
No, I know if you cannot stay, I said we will send it to you because it's basically a presentation about the new anti-Semitic levels in Europe.
There is the books right outside.
Okay,
so
there is outside.
next to the door over there, so
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
And basically, I'm sorry the timetable didn't allow it, but they're doing some important work, and I wanted to make sure you also knew of them. So thank you so much again. Thank you.
Thank you. Especially in Hungary. Yes.
Kalman, if you'd like to jump first? Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, we heard from some different members of parliament from different European countries, and now we're actually delaying the presentation. Yeah.
Stage management, sorry guys.
We were delaying the presentation because His Excellency, the Ambassador of Hungary to Belgium, was a little bit delayed, so we delayed just for you. So on time and on cue, we're actually going to have my colleagues from Action and Protection Leagues, which they are partners of ours, and we co-hosted and we co-organized this event together. And you heard already from the chairman of the organization, and today we have the pleasure of actually listening from the presentation and the work they have been doing from our colleague, Secretary of Action and Protection League, Mr. Kalman Sly, if I correct, and Tamir, which I'm really sorry I cannot pronounce your surname.
fine. I will do it by myself.
Okay, Tamir first then. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ruth. Thank you to MEP Antonio Lopez Isturiz White as well. It's great to see him again. And of course, I would like to welcome as well the Hungarian ambassador to Belgium, Dr. Kovac. It's great to have you as well. And thank you to our partner organization, the European Jewish Association. Well, it's challenging to be the last speaker because you must be very interesting. People are probably tired already, and I will do my best. I got even a more challenging task and to be short with my my speech. So we will present the survey that Action and Protection League just done in 16 EU member states regarding anti-Semitism. Before we'll start with the presentation, I want to say a few words about Action and Protection League for those who don't know us yet. Action and Protection League is a pan-European organization, was founded in 2012 in Hungary, in Budapest. We are now started operating here in Brussels. My colleague Kalman, Salai Kalman, will give you more details and more information regarding our activity after I will present the survey. Before I will present the survey, it's very important to understand a few things about it. First of all, why it's important. It's important because this survey, I served as an intelligence officer. And intelligence is important exactly because of the reason why this survey is important. Because if you're leading a unit, a force to some operation, to some mission, you must to know what you are facing. Before you are even start to prepare, you must to know what you're preparing for. You must to know who is standing in front of you. So it's really matter if you will face a troop or if you will face a brigade. It's important if it's a unit of artillery or commando. So this is why it's very important to understand what we are looking forward, what expecting to us. And this is what this survey is coming to serve. It's coming to give us the most authentic and the most and the best reflection to the current situation regarding anti-Semitism positions. This survey is the first survey of its kind ever made in Europe. It made in 16 European countries.